Gary Forman of Henschel-Steinau is a prime example of a man who knows how to successfully balance his business, philanthropy, and family lives. He is compassionate, respectful, encouraging, innovative, and much more. He strongly believes it's a blessing that he's able to help people in different ways due to his successes in life. He is a man with deep-rooted values, integrity, and an impressive work ethic, setting the highest standards for others to follow. Tonight, we are honored to induct him into the POPAI Hall of Fame. Born in Brooklyn, New York on February 11, 1949, to Ruth and Saul Forman, Gary grew up in Jamaica, Queens, along with his younger sister, Francie. At the age of 12, Gary's family relocated to a co-op in Flushing, New York, where he would meet the love of his life and future wife, Marcia Forman. They have been married for more than 41 years. Upon graduation from Brooklyn Tech High School in 1967, Gary attended Pratt Institute. After 5 years of study, he graduated from Pratt with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Industrial Design. And in that same year, Gary Forman married Marcia Forman, with Marcia never having to change her maiden name. At the young age of 23, Gary began as one of the designers at Henschel-Steinau, then owned by H. Aaron Henschel and Lee Weiss. Gary's eagerness to prove himself often meant arriving at the office before it was even unlocked. As he began to delve deeper into the industry, he would often tease his colleagues in the sales department that selling was not that difficult, and that the designers did all of the work and got none of the credit. Aaron dared him to hit the road and see what life as a salesman was like, and he has never looked back. He was able to secure business from some of the top CPG companies and supermarkets in the country, such as Philip Morris USA, Richardson Vicks, Clairol, Maybelline Plow, General Foods, Kraft, Nabisco, Procter & Gamble, Publix, and many others. After 3 years of successful sales, Gary became a minority shareholder in 1978, and his relationships with his clients continued to grow and develop. That same year, his family also began to grow, with the birth of his first child, Brian. 3 years later, Marcia gave birth to their daughter, Corey. In 1980, Gary and the Henschel-Steinau team, in a partnership with Philip Morris, revolutionized the way cigarettes were sold at retail. They developed the first 4 generations of overhead pack merchandisers, the first 2 generations of carton merchandisers, spring feed pack merchandisers, and many other vehicles. During that same period, Gary gained Kraft as a loyal client. He was proactive in producing 3 versions of the same display for Kraft's Pourables salad dressing campaigns over several years, the first being manufactured in wood, and subsequent versions saving the client hundreds of thousands of dollars by injection molding the unit to resemble wood. For more than 30 years, Kraft has remained one of Henschel-Steinau's valued clients. During the 90s and early 2000s, Gary and his wife were recognized with several honors in the Jewish community, including being selected as the 2001 Rockland County State of Israel Bonds honorees. And in 2002, the Reuben Gittleman Hebrew Day School named their middle school the Marcia and Gary Forman Middle School. For 30 years, Gary has served on the board of trustees of the school, holding positions of president, vice president, chairman of fundraising, and was instrumental in the building of their new school building in 1990. He has traveled to Israel many times with his family and went on missions with national delegations from State of Israel Bonds, where Gary has served on the executive board of Rockland County since 1985. He has had the privilege of meeting the past 7 prime ministers of Israel. Continuing on into the 2000s, Gary was part of the Henschel-Steinau team that developed their patented Easy Load spring feed shelf management system for use in retail stores and at CPG's sites. In 2008, when Aaron Henschel decided to pare down his day-to-day involvement with Henschel-Steinau, selling the business to a group of employees became the best option. Aaron approached Gary with this idea, and by August 1, 2008, the deal was closed. At the age of 59, with the support and encouragement of fellow employees, his wife, children, and some close friends, Gary became the CEO and president and majority shareholder with 51% of the company's shares. However, the main reason that Gary agreed to purchase Henschel-Steinau was to give 10 of his colleagues the opportunity to have ownership in Henschel-Steinau. That same year, Gary and Marcia received honors from Rockland Jewish Family Service for their leadership, service, and Gary's design, implementation, and contribution of the agency's Dedication and Life Member Wall. He has also shared his design expertise by designing, building, and donating dedication walls for the Reuben Gittleman Hebrew Day School, his synagogue, Congregation Sherry Israel, Jewish Federation of Rockland, and the Rockland County Holocaust Museum and Study Center. This year, Gary celebrated 40 years with Henschel-Steinau. He feels that some of his greatest accomplishments are a true balance between helping lead his company, inspiring others, and supporting various charities and organizations. Marcia and Gary are adoring parents to Brian and Melissa and Corey and Jason, and doting grandparents to their 3 sweet grandchildren, Hazel, Michael, and Oliver, who they love with all their hearts and can't get enough of. The Formans are very proud to be the major sponsors of the Marcia and Gary Forman Sunday Respite Program for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, a caregiver support program, and Camp Kiponga for children between the ages of 5 and 10 diagnosed with Asperger's or related social deficits, as well as major supporters of Meals on Wheels of Rockland County, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, Hadassah, and Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund, to name a few. Gary Forman has proven that he is not afraid to take risks in advancing the POP industry, and he hopes to see his company continue to grow, thrive, and prosper. He passionately strives to reach out to help others achieve a better quality of life. He truly believes that Henschel's clients and vendors should never be treated as numbers, but rather as human beings with whom good, long-lasting relationships and partnerships can and should be maintained. Led by CEO Gary Forman, it is no surprise that Henschel-Steinau has become a leader in the consumer packaged goods and retail market industry. With that, it is our honor to induct Gary Forman into the POPAI Hall of Fame.